All right, welcome to this week's Points and Miles report here on Traveling on Everyday Spend. Doing it on location in Las Vegas today. Been out here west to see the in-laws for about 5 days in Arizona, and then took my normal couple of days here in Las Vegas. And interesting time. I don't like coming out here in the summer. I don't care what people say about dry heat. It is hotter than Hades where I was at in Arizona. The temperature did not get below 110 all days I was there. It is a slightly cooler here in Las Vegas, so I will say that's at least a positive. But that is kind of what we're working with here. In addition, coming up here to Vegas, doing this here at 5 o'clock my time, 8 o'clock where I'm normally at. My wife and my son are going to see the Lady Gaga concert that's out here tonight. So figured I'd take some time with this. Couple things interesting. Normally, as I've mentioned before, I normally use the $200 hotel credit for both my wife and I on our platinum cards. And I normally use that here when I come out to this trip to bring down the cost of a more expensive hotel, Crockford's here at Hilton, because it's kind of the one time I'll spend up a little bit. But because of how bad tourism is here right now, it is horrible. Outside of a convention, all the numbers are down, of course. Not as many international travelers, not even as much leisure travel. And I'm not a person that gambles a lot or spends a lot when I'm out here. But each of us were able to get 2 nights here at the Hilton at no cost. So took that, kept my $200 hotel credit, and I'll look to use that in Vancouver in February when I'm there for a few days after getting back from Taipei, Taiwan. So that's just kind of the lay of the land out here out west. But we got a lot of things to cover and beyond the headlines. And I apologize if this ends up stopping and starting somewhat, kind of using hotel internet. So let's just go and power through and let's see what we've got going on today. So as far as the credit card offers, we still have Hilton all the way through August with these elevated offers that we definitely have plenty of time to look at. As I've talked about before, I've done a review on these Hilton cards. I'll make sure to have a link for that in the description. And then when we move to Bank of America, the Air France is still going on with their 70,000 bonus points. Disregard the business one. I forgot to take that one out. That doesn't have any elevated offer currently. Alaska Airlines personal one has switched over to a different version. Then Capital One, we still have the Spark Cash card and the 2 student cards, the Quicksilver and the Saver One. As far as Chase, a couple things to point out. The Chase Aeroplan credit card, it's normally at 75,000 points, but there is a link in a landing to, I think, Aeroplan's website where it's 85,000 points for that $4,000 in spend, which is a really good deal. I'll make sure to put a link for that landing in the description for you to be able to get to. As far as the IHG credit cards, you've got 1 week left to look at those elevated offers on either the Premier or the Rewards Traveler credit cards. And then, of course, World of Hyatt, we got that new one last go round where we were looking at getting the 2 category 1 through 4 nights. And then you could get an additional 25,000 points if you ended up putting out enough spend for that year. You just got to be very smart and savvy if you're going to go that route to utilize those certificates to the best way you can. And then we've the Chase United cards have changed a bit. So most of the personal credit cards all dropped out. The Quest card, which I think is the best card, even if you're not a loyalist to United, because of the credits and because of the sign-up bonus, which is the best offer ever that they've had, that one has been a little bit off kilter as far as their end date. So this one runs through, you get that one through August, and then the business cards now came back with their welcome bonuses for both the business and the club business that we have there. They threw in now PQP points and 100,000 points, so 100,000 miles. So, it's so-so. I added Synchrony this go around because we now have Virgin Red. Virgin Red normally has 40,000 what they call boarding bonus points, but now it is up to 60,000 points with $4,000 worth of spend in the first 90 days. I think that if you are looking at Virgin, and of course you can look at that for Virgin Hotels, you could look at it for Virgin Cruise Lines if you want to take that shot, or of course airlines. So between whether you move those points between Red and Atlantic, that would be an option to consider. We've got the Citi Advantage Platinum Select card. The executive has dropped off, so now we have this one with basically its highest mile offer at 80,000 miles, $3,500 in spend in the first 3 months. And most importantly is that annual fee is waived in the first year. Barclays continues to have their cards for Wyndham available, which I'm surprised every time I end up looking it up. Wells Fargo, we still got those One Key cards and Choice Privileges MasterCard. Now, as far as the transfer bonuses, not too much. We had a few that dropped off about a day or two ago. Right now, what you're looking at is you've got the Avianca through AMEX, you got Marriott with the 50%, and then Citi through the 19th, so only through tomorrow. Tomorrow. Had to look at my dates again. Yeah, through tomorrow. The bonuses on Accor Live Limitless and the 20% on the Air France KLM. So something to keep an eye out for that if you have anything that you're looking to top off possibly. And then let's move to the points and miles opportunities. And as I mentioned on these, I always try to just hit, there's always plenty of them, and I fill up the description with them. But I normally try to hit on the new ones or maybe ones that are ending. So let's hit on some new ones that have come out now. So British Airways, you get 40% off on the purchase of Avios, and it's not a tier, so that's a positive. Anything from 2,000 to 200,000 Avios being purchased will be 40% that you can look at. That has another week for that through July 23rd. Hawaiian Miles just kind of came up with the 50% off on the purchase of their miles as well. It ends August 16th, so there's plenty of time. Even with the 50%, while that may sound good on the surface, the issue is you're still talking about 1.87 cents per mile. That's high. But once again, only use these things as kind of a baseline, not whether you should or should not do it, because it all depends upon the redemption that you're able to pull off that determines how much it's truly worth. And then we have Alaska Airlines, where you can buy points with up to 60% off, and that's going to run through August 16th as well. This is matching the best price seen for this, and if you go 40,000 miles or over, that's going to be triggering the 60%. So once again, it's all about how you utilize these miles or points to determine if it's really something that you should look at doing. Then we have Avianca, which has 30% off on more than 150 routes. This is one of their flash sales that they end up doing. You do need to book by July 22nd, but the travel is from September 1st all the way through November 30th. Now, if you do have one of their co-branded cards, that could be another 5% for you as far as purchasing of Avios. I'm sorry, not purchase of Avios, disregard that last line. As far as the Avianca ones, I'll have a landing page that I'll put in the description where you can see all of what is available through this flash sale. Qatar has up to 15% off on purchasing their tickets and up to 10,000 bonus Avios. Now, that 10,000 bonus Avios is based upon 5,000 points if you are flying economy, or 10,000 points if it is business or first. Now, this is going to end next week in July. but you do get all the way till November 10th to fly. You do need to use that promo code that I have listed there of the PCAMER 25. Now, you do need to get the tickets and do the reservations 14 days prior to your departure, except for Atlanta, Houston, Miami, and San Francisco, which then you only need to do it 3 days prior to departure. So keep that in mind depending upon where you're going. Lufthansa has come back with their miles and more bundles, so it obviously must have been somewhat successful. You basically have the extra small bundle, medium bundle, and large bundle. Extra small, 4,500 miles for $110. That's at 2.44 cents per mile, so that's not ideal by any means. The small bundle is at 15,000 miles for $300. It brings it down to 2 cents per mile. Medium bundle, 75,000 miles for $1,180. That gets you to 1.57 cents per mile. And then the large bundle is 150,000 miles for $2,070, and that's at 1.38 cents per mile. To kind of give you an example of what this could do for you, depending, is if you wanted to fly first class one way on Lufthansa to Germany, you would be looking at approximately $4,500 for what you could be able to do at 150,000 miles. This would be $2,070. So it's all about, once again, your redemption of what you're going to be looking at that really kind of determines if this is something for you. So that is Lufthansa. And then we've got Hyatt. They've extended that 777 promotion. There's 21 different locations that are going on right now where they're casino based. And so those are the ones that are part of this deal. It's going to run through September 30th. I'll have a landing page for that where you can be able to see that list of those 21 different locations. And once again, that 777 points is per night that you could be able to look at. Then Etihad Airways has a couple of different promotions that they're doing right now. One is that if you just go and update your account, that's it. Go to your Volair points account, and if you update it either for the address, consent preference, and gender are options, then you will get 2,000 Volair points just for updating it. Now that ends July 31st. Then you have up to 25% back of your points back on an award flight. Now you need to book by August 10th, and the travel needs to be completed by August 31st. You'll get 10% kickback on the domestic, 20% on international, and 25% for intercontinental flights. So those are the options that you have there. And so that is what we have for the points and miles opportunities for today. And then let's move. We've got a lot of different quick notes to bring you, a lot of different information that was just kind of coming out. So let's go ahead and hit these. First, we're going to start with lounges. And so we've heard the announcement now that the Admirals Club is going to go to have a grab and go concept called Provisions by Admirals Club. They're going to open the first one in Charlotte, and that will be arriving later this summer. They will have a customer service station there for members to get travel assistance, which I thought was a nice touch when you compare it to the United version of where it's just strictly coming in and grab what you need. It's going to be located in Concourse A near Gate 1. And although it's a hub of Americans lounge, they really have fallen behind AMEX, Centurion Lounge, and the new Delta Sky Club that they've got there in Charlotte. So this should help a little bit in regards to the offerings that they have. And then now to be outdone, we now know that the Centurion Lounge is going to have a short-term version of a lounge, which I thought was really interesting. It's called Sidecar by Centurion Lounge. It's expected to come in 2026. It is specifically for people that are departing within 90 minutes. That's the only way you're getting into that lounge. And it's going to be a speakeasy inspired concept, small plates, cocktails, and more. The thought is that they will probably have the first one in Las Vegas. Now, I have seen where some people have talked about might be somewhat comparable to a Capital One landing. I don't view it that way. I've not been to the Capital One landing yet, but from what I've seen of it, it's really going to be more of a focusing more on the culinary experience, and that's not what I see from Sidecar. I think this is going to do, in the renderings I've seen of this, looks good. I think the main thing for this is it's going to be able, if this works, and they can start with Las Vegas, is that they're going to be able to start kind of taking a little bit of the edge off of the people that are going to be there for 3 hours like I do for that. So I think it's something that can be really successful for the Centurion Lounge. And then, not to be outdone, we've got the 30th AMEX Centurion that is now in Tokyo Haneda Airport. It's in Terminal 3 near Gate 114 on the 4th floor. The unfortunate part is this lounge is only 7,300 square feet and seats about 122 people. There is even a space for Centurion members where there's a private VIP area and beverage station. Open kitchen, Japanese and Western food options. It's nice to have something there, but I think that thing's going to get overcrowded really fast. But that is what we have being started there in Haneda. Then let's move to I'll go to the Amex Travel. So AmexTravel.com is going to cease doing hotel and flight packages, which is a very interesting thing. They're supposed to be streamlining, but bundling has been the thing we've seen all over the place, whether it's insurance or whether it's travel or probably name almost anything. Bundling has been the way that most entities have done. So I was surprised to see this. So these packages will end on July 31st. And then hotels and flights will be sold separately like they continue to do. So that part doesn't change, but the bundling will go away. Find that interesting. Then we have Bilt Home Away from Home, and they're going to be their challenge to the Amex Fine Hotel and Resorts and Chase's new package now. So this is right now, it is only going to be for gold and platinum members. And what I'm going to read off is going to sound very similar to Chase and American Express with a couple of distinctions. One is complimentary breakfast for two, room upgrade upon availability, early check-in and late checkout when available, $100 food and beverage credit at select hotels, and then 2x you'll get in Bilt points when you use a linked debit or credit card, plus whatever you get from there. So that is a nice benefit from using their program. The two things that one thing we do know and one thing we don't know. What we do know is that for me, being able to have a guaranteed late checkout that the Fine Hotels and Resorts does is such a big deal. It's not something Chase is going to be doing. It's not something that Bilt's going to be doing. Now, you may score well with it normally, but I like guarantees. The second thing that I've not found a single place, even in their announcement or anybody that's kind of tried to talk about this, I can't see if this is going to require you to have a one-night stay or a two-night stay. And that is obviously the big thing that we've got going on right now. We've got the edit with Chase that's gone 2 nights to be able to use those credits. The speculation is that American Express is going to go to 2 as well when they raise their annual fee, which for me would be a huge issue of me continuing to keep the card if it went to that. And then in this one, we don't have any information. I cannot find it anywhere. I will continue to look for it because I think that will kind of dictate how good or okay this may be. But that is the Bilt Home Away from Home. Then we've got increased earning rates that are now permanent between Alaska and Lyft. So what you do need to do first is obviously you need to link the accounts via the partnership page, which I'll have a link for that in the description. You're going to earn 2 Alaska miles per dollar spent on Lyft with their standard, XL, and their priority. You'll get 3x on the per dollar on airport rides, higher value rides such as Extra Comfort, Black SUV would be the ones that you have for that. Now, there is no cap, so that's a positive. But as far as international rides that qualify, only Canada will qualify. And then what you can do is you can kind of double dip on this because you're not having to be using an Alaska credit card. So if you use Chase, where you get that 5x or 5% on the Sapphire Reserve, the Reserve Business, the Preferred, the Ink cards, the Ink Business Preferred, Ink Cash, and Ink Unlimited, you can end up doubling up on some of those points. So that's a pretty good option to be able to look at for Lyft. And then Wyndham has started up a policy, started a new partnership with Grubhub, which I thought was interesting. So this is for their entire U.S. portfolio, where they have 20 different brands. So whether you're at a Super 8 or at a more quote unquote upscale one, this applies all across the board. What you would do is you would open up the Grubhub app while you're at a Wyndham, or you can use their QR code that they'll have a bunch of them that they're saying in a lot of their different material. And you will be taken to a landing page and can get a 6-month trial of Grubhub Plus at no cost with no credit card needed, and there is no auto renewal. This is normally a $9.99 per month cost, but this is their promotion to be able to get people to order Grubhub and deliver there. Obviously, from Wyndham standpoint, it's a value added benefit if you're going to be there, because a lot of people, and for the few times I've been at a Wyndham, that obviously you're not having restaurants on site at a lot of places. This is helpful. And then, of course, what Grubhub ended up saying was the fact that that the footprint that Wyndham has in the United States makes it a great deal for them, and I'm sure that's the case. Now, Disneyland, we move over to them with the 70th anniversary promotions. For tickets, you can get tickets starting at $100 per day for a 4-day, 1 park per day pass, or $120 per day for a 3-day, 1 park per day pass. Now, that promotion is going to end August the 14th. From the hotel standpoint, you can get up to 20% off on stays of 3 or more nights at Disneyland Hotel, the Villas at Disneyland Hotel, and then the Grand Californian Hotel and Spa. Now, that period runs from August 17th through December 19th. So those would be the options for those. Then we also have, which I thought was good to see, was J.D. Power did their 2025 best hotel brands by level. So luxury, I don't think most of us are going to be surprised that it's Ritz-Carlton. The upper upscale is Omni, and I've only been to an Omni one time, and I thought it was very good. I don't know where they're specifically located. Where I was at, it was in the Southeast. Upscale is the Drury. Upscale extended would be Hyatt House, which I thought was interesting. I didn't necessarily think of them being as an extended, but I know that they do have kitchens in some of them. The upper mid-scale was the Hampton. Mid-scale extended was Home to Suites by Hilton. Mid-scale, True by Hilton. Economy was Microtel, and economy extended was Woodspring Suites. The ones that I've got in bold, Drury, Hyatt House, and True by Hilton, this is at least their 3rd year in a row of winning that category. I've not been to a Ritz-Carlton. I've been to Omni once. Drury I used to go to a few times. Very nice setup. I would agree with them a bit as far as an upscale. Been to the Hyatt House with the kitchen, so I definitely understand the extended if you're doing that. Hampton, been at, which kind of hit or miss sometimes. I've not been to a Home to Suites, haven't been to True, been to Microtel, and it is of the basic nature, but still clean, relatively safe depending on where you're located at. And then this one is something for probably anybody that goes to CVS to consider. So this is Flying Blue Miles at CVS. If you add a credit card to the Flying Blue app and make purchases with that enrolled card online or in person, you will get 25 Flying Blue points with every $10 you spend. And that's going to end August the 24th. The reality is there's a lot of cards, especially on the Chase side, that will get you 3x on the drugstores and pharmacies that you could use for this. Get that and get the 25 Flying Blue miles. The only unfortunate part is that it is only going to run through August the 24th. I did not see anywhere to say that there was a cap. So if you are a case where you shop there once a week, a lot of times I've heard people do that, and especially if you got prescriptions, might be something to consider for that. Or if you already have it there may be some points to be miles to be had from there. So then we have 60,000 Wyndham points for American Home Shield warranty. American Home Shield, you probably have seen commercials for it either on YouTube or on TV. Well-known brand for warranty on your home. This is not me advocating for them. I did have it with one of the homes that I had, and I did need to replace something, and it helped. Didn't get me exactly what I wanted, but if you're in the position or the need for something like this, this is not why you get American Home Shield, but it's at least something of why you may consider them amongst other warranties for homes. If you enroll in a gold or platinum warranty by December 31st, they of course have a special landing page that I'll have in the description. You'll get 60,000 Wyndham points. Not bad at all. Once again, a sweetener, not the sole reason why you choose. And then Chase Dining is going to be ending. That is going to end October 26th of this year. Now, Chase Dining was basically for the Chase Sapphire cards, the Ink cards, and the Freedom cards. Now, this is a bad part for the Sapphire Reserve, although not something that we didn't expect, because the Sapphire Reserve would get you 10x on prepaid reservations that you do, versus now we're looking at 3x in dining. Even at their special reserve tables, you're only getting 3x. So not something that is necessarily a positive, but I don't think, definitely not one that was not anticipated. And I want to make sure to say hi to Tim. Appreciate you coming in. Well, I got some Alaska points from Lyft, but I used my Ink card for payment. Understand it. But that is still going to be continuing. And so it was good to see that it's become permanent. And what's the points? Appreciate you dropping in, sir. Doing my own live in 10 minutes. Okay, well, I'll make sure if you're still on, I'll definitely make sure to jump on. So I appreciate it. Watch the replay, and I'll make sure to check out yours. Thanks for letting us know. What's the Points has a really good channel. I definitely have enjoyed it, and so I definitely encourage you all to take a look at his channel as well. So let's move to some of the topics that we've got for today. So Emirates has their new first class check-in in Dubai. And so this was something that was being renovated, and this is all part of them trying to elevate their level for first class, as we've seen a lot of people doing. Delta One, as at least from the United States portion, which these special layouts check in all to make you really feel more special. So this first class check-in area has just been renovated. It includes chauffeur-driven BMW or Mercedes to Dubai. If you're a Platinum Elite member, you will also have access to this area in Terminal 3, which I thought was interesting. And then a first class, you'll get seated at a couch or a sofa, and the first class team member will sit with you and check you in from their iPad. I did not, although I flew first class on Qantas, I did not fly. I flew first class to Sydney, but I only flew premium economy back, and that is where I could have, where they have that specialized kind of setup. Of course, and it's your home country or your home location. So I didn't get to have that kind of privacy. This kind of goes along with what we've talked about as far as some of the improvements that they're making. They're going to continue to have unlimited caviar service there, but it was just basically some touches of white glove service, bespoke engraved bowls. So what this kind of raises to you to look at is the fact of getting to be able to do first class on points. And so we had a change with that recently, I think a couple months ago, where we saw that. And what we saw is now you have to have status to be able to book first class on points. And so you need to have silver status with Emirates to be able to do that. The quickest way to do that, at least for 1 year, is if you got one of their entry level credit card will give you silver status initially, but then you got to have spend to be able to keep it. But if you were looking at doing it for 1 year, then that may be something. Then the upgrading policy from business, if you get a business class, we do still see that you can be able to upgrade from business on same day normally, depending upon space, being able to upgrade with your points to first class. And they have a pretty good system as far as being able to do that. The other thing I did see was that Air Canada and Qantas does still appear to have access to first class seats on Emirates, even if you're using their points. Now, how long that will continue, do not know, but something to at least take a look at if you are interested in Emirates first class. And then let's talk about bunkhouse hotels. We've talked about them back in 2024 when they were acquired by Hyatt, but now we've got the first bunkhouse hotel actually participating in the world of Hyatt. So let's talk about that. And let me first say to Ryan, appreciate you stopping in. Hello, hope everyone is having a great day, and you too. Hope you are too, and thanks for stopping in. So let's talk about the bunkhouse hotels. So for Bunkhouse, they were acquired about a year ago, like I mentioned, back in August of 2024. Their mantra is that the hotels offer more than just a good night's sleep and a great cup of coffee. The hotels are primarily located in California, Kentucky, Texas, and Mexico. And so I have here the dates of where they're coming out. Hotel St. Cecilia and the Hotel St. Augustine, both in Texas, are now live, while you're going to have a bunch more, 3 more opening in July 23rd, 2 in August 6th. You are seeing that these categories are getting as high as category 7s, which is interesting. Now, as far as the benefits that you would have on it, 5x on the base points you'll still get. These qualifying nights can be used towards elite status. This does qualify for milestone rewards, and this now qualifies as a new brand explorer, which is good to see. And then let's touch on Caesar's new Prestige Visa Signature Card. And I think that obviously this is a niche item, but I think that because of the way they're handling these points, I think that there is some positives potentially for people, even if you're not a big time gambler. So Caesars has 50 locations in 16 states. So they're pretty spread out. Obviously, they've got here on the strip there where I'm at, they have 8 hotels, I believe. So the annual fee on this new card is $150. The welcome bonus is 20,000 reward credits and 2,500 tier credits after spending $1,000 in the first 90 days, but it cannot be at one of their Caesars destinations. So it can't be at the casino. You have to do normal spending for that. The multipliers are 7x at the Caesar destinations, 2x for dining, travel, and entertainment, and then 1x on all other purchases and cash advances, which I thought was kind of interesting in a way. I'm not surprised that a casino-related card would let you score points on cash advances, but it's interesting. Now, the perks include $50 annual slot play, $100 annual dining credit. Then you have an annual complimentary hotel night award. It's at any Caesars destination, it's up to $300. And then you will be upgraded to platinum status when using the card in the first 90 days, which you have to get those welcome bonus. And then you can earn 2,500 tier credits at the $5,000 spend limit and then $10,000 spend limit in a year. You'll also get an additional 15,000 tier credits with $50,000 to spend a year. There are no cash advance fees, which that part surprised me, and no foreign transaction fees. Now, I believe that on this, as long as you have activity on this every 6 months, I believe, I'll look at that before at the end to confirm that and put that in the description, to not lose your points. And so I think that's the big deal. I'm not a person that gambles a lot. Maybe once a year, actually, when I come out here, every now and a blue moon, I might go to the local casino, which is also a Caesars casino, but it's rare that I go. So, But if you even go once and you're able to use that $300 credit for a not free night award and the $100 annual dining credit and the 50, this card can easily pay for itself, and for you not for to be a person that gambles a whole bunch. So I think that is something worth considering depending on your situation. Now let's move to these Citi Strata Elite rumors. Now these are new rumors. I'll say relatively newer rumors, and these are coming from Frequent Miler and Doctor of Credit, which both have very good track records. Frequent Miler doesn't jump into rumors a great deal unless they feel pretty good about it, and then Doctor of Credit obviously has a very good track record. I did my review about this Citi Strata Elite, and I had said that I believe that their annual fee was going to be between $450 and $550. And that was based on the fact that I did not believe that they were going to give Admirals Lounge access or membership, maybe 2 to 4 um, visits a year, maybe, but I didn't think they would give the entire membership, because if you do that, you're essentially cutting the legs out from the executive credit card that's at nearly $600. So, but they are more in line with the higher annual fee. So Doctor of Credit is tying itself to rumors at $595, while Frequent Miler rumors are at $650. The multipliers would be 6x on dining, but that is specific to city nights, Friday and Saturday nights. Now, that one is a bit mixed up that we don't know yet, because even they're not sure if the rumor is city nights the same as Friday and Saturday nights, or is city nights different from Friday and Saturday nights. So we don't know what that would end up being. I will find that very interesting. 3x on all other dining, according to Doctor of Credit for dining. 12x in the travel portal is what Frequent Miler is saying. Doctor of Credit has broken it out to hotels, car rentals, and attractions would be 12x through the travel portal, but air travel would be at 6x for that. And then Doctor of Credit was looking at 1.5x on all other purchases, which is kind of interesting. Now, what they're talking about is Admirals Club access. Now, they're not saying if the rumor is full-blown membership access or not, and they've mentioned about coupons. But what the unfortunate person is, if you are a Prestige card holder, the rumors are tying in that you are going to get converted, whether you like it or not, to Strata Elite. And I know a couple people that have the Strata Prestige that really love that card. And I think that is definitely going to be depressing for them. But it's not surprising that they are trying to consolidate some of this down, especially some of the really unique features that the Prestige had, especially that fourth night free type of thing. Now, they talking about transfers to American Airlines would happen at a later date. I talked about that as well. I think it's going to come, but I don't think you're going to probably see it for maybe 6 months or so. But we'll also have to see what the redemption rate is for American Airlines for that. Then let's touch on the Prestige, which I just mentioned on that is rumored to be going away and be replaced by the Citi Strata Elite. And that is going to end up being fourth night free is unique, $250 travel rebate per year, priority pass select, and global entry credit. So that is what Prestige has that's special to it. Now, when we talk about the coupons, we are kind of looking at what the executive card has for American Airlines. And that's a $10 monthly Grubhub credit, $120 credit on Avis and budget per year, $10 Lyft credit after 3 Lyft trips in a month. Now, the issue that I would have is this. If it is going to be $600, $595, or $650, I don't think I'm seeing enough to make it competitive at that number. Maybe if it is going to get the full-blown membership with Admirals Lounge, the Admirals Club Lounge, maybe. But I just don't understand why American Airlines would cut their legs out on the executive to do it. I'll be curious if you all have some thoughts on this. The other thing that I find very interesting, although one reason why I would not be overly shocked that they did it, is because American Airlines it still has the where you can purchase your way in very easily. I was flying out here. I ended up going to an Admirals lounge, excuse me, in Chicago, and that was $79 per person for my wife and I to buy in. And because I had my platinum set up for American Airlines, I expect to see that come back to me. But I could have just as easily went to the to their flagship lounge. You can buy your way into there too. They double the price though, $79 at the Admirals lounge, 158, I believe it is, to get into the flagship lounge. I didn't plan on spending that much money to go sit at a lounge, but ironically, some people that I was sitting with at looking at the runway had family members that was at the flagship lounge that thought that it was a level higher. They got to do some things with the bar, with making their own drinks. The food was a little bit better. So I've not been to the flagship lounge, but I think that if you're going to be doing something like that, and you're letting people buy into your top tier lounge, then that almost tells me that you are not really concerned about overcrowding. And so maybe that they feel like there's space to fill with this. But I think we're going to have to find that pretty interesting of how that'll play out, though, for that. And let me be curious your all's thoughts, though. I think that is a very interesting rumors coming from those two. And Source King, appreciate you stopping in. There's got to be a fee on those cash advances, right? Apparently not. Now because that Caesar's card is a gamble. I mean, you're using that card. I could see where they're doing it, but I don't think it'll last long. I think there's going to be enough people that are going to be doing cash advances that at some point they say, let's make it a small fee, but let's not give it all away, especially for a $150 card. But right now we're hearing that there is no transaction, no fees on that. So we'll definitely have to keep an eye out on that. And then howdy to Matt, appreciate you stopping through from the tidbits. Thanks for stopping through. And Ian, thanks for stopping. Tim, thanks for stopping in. You can be winning when you're losing. Yeah, we definitely have heard that in a movie before. I agree. And Matt says Citi saw the mark and ran the other way at Mach 10. Yeah, I'm worried about that card now. I really thought that they were going to really jump in there and really do some big things at the 450 to 550 level. I don't know if there's enough coupons and enough access to American Airlines that's going to make it worth it, but we'll definitely have to see. And Ryan says Matt hates the card already. And then Xavier, appreciate you stopping through. Thanks so much for the 10. I really appreciate it. Good seeing you. Really appreciate it. Thanks so much. Mad, I don't hate it. I'm not mad, just disappointed. Hopefully there's still a chance for that. I think the other thing that they were talking about is that I think Frequent Miler was actually talking about that they think applications are going to be open for that this weekend. I mean, that fast, which is pretty interesting as well. So we'll have to see if that one part comes true as well. And Ian, how's it going, sir? Thanks for stopping through. And Tim, I hate high-end cards that nickel and dime you with $10 credits. Why bother? I know I feel the same way, Tim, but unfortunately, there's been too many of us card holders that have been okay with it or at least tolerated it. And American Express has clearly shown the world of how much money they can make with this coupon book tit for tat kind of thing. And obviously Chase has jumped on it now. And obviously this is a follow the leader kind of thing. And now it looks like we're going to see Citi do some version of it. But we'll have to wait and see. But I feel the same way you do. And Source King says those cash advances will be bullied. No doubt about it. I think they have to figure that it's going to be significantly. It's just going to be a matter of how long do we see it. Because I agree with you. I don't think they're going to just leave that much money on the table when people are doing zero transaction fees on those cards. Matt, I assume Caesar's cash APR will be astronomical. I did see what it was. I think it was near 30%. I think it was like 25 to 29%, but I could be a little bit off on it, but I did read it. But so much anymore, when I'm looking at, I don't normally look at the APRs on the credit cards, but the reality is they're all going to be, in most cases, in the 20 to 25, and then some get top out of that 30% range. But it's a mess for it. Definitely do all you can to not carry the balance. Citi could have been somebody. They could have been a contender. Yeah, I thought that they were going to be that contender, and this is very underwhelming, very disappointing to be able to see what they're talking about doing. Ryan said they nickel and dime so people get their money's worth. Yeah, and that's the only thing we can hope is that if you're doing this coupon book thing, as I do with these platinum cards, that you always are reviewing your stuff to make sure that you are getting enough money out of it. Which is why I say that if they do go to 2-night minimum to get that $200 hotel credit, like they have for the quote unquote lower version of the hotel collection, that probably will and raise the fee. I don't know if there's enough coupons that can keep me for that one. It would definitely have me rethinking both of these platinum cards. Right now, it's just a matter of looking at that reserve card. I think my wife is probably going to get it. I cannot get it. But at least for the first year, if you're going to give me 100,000 points and a $500 travel credit for $5,000 in spend in 3 months, I think you can get me for 1 year. I don't know if it's going to be worth keeping it beyond that, but I think that this is the way of the world that we've got now. And let's move to some new hotels. Like I said to you all, normally I want to always touch on new hotels because it's something interesting, of something different we may do with our points and miles. So we've got the Waldorf Astoria, and that hotel is now reopened, or going to be reopened, scheduled for September after a and I do mean B with a boy, multi-billion-dollar renovation. Now, the hotel, of course, we've all heard about it, debuted back in 1893 and moved to Park Avenue in 1931. 375 guest rooms, and 372 Waldorf Astoria residences. The amenities, they're going to have a 20,000 square foot wellness center that will open later. Prices, $1,500 kind of starting per night, or 150,000 Hilton points for one night. Might be something interesting. I wouldn't mind seeing what it looks like there. Hyatt Regency Manhattan. Now, this hotel is now open and is the first Hyatt Regency in Manhattan. 795 rooms, on-site restaurant, which is Q48. Now, that will overlook the lights right on 48th Street when opened. $349 kind of starting, 25,000 World of Hyatt points to be able to use it to go there if you want to be right near where the shows are at. Park Hyatt Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia. Now, this opening has been moved to early August 7th of 2025. Now, the location is at the relatively new, I think it opened last year, which is the Merdeka 118, Merdeka 118 skyscraper. This is the tallest building in the Asia Pacific. What makes this special, if you got the heart for it, the Park Hyatt will occupy the 17 highest floors. So you'll at least be 100 stories high, even if you're on the 17th from the highest. Obviously, when we normally talk about Park Hyatt and some of these ones on these these skyscrapers, they normally are at the bottom. So you don't get many views for it, but this is a totally different ball game. There's 232 rooms. It'll include 28 suites and 30 residential apartments. This was originally supposed to be opened at the time that the Merdeka opened last year, but they've just had issues of getting this thing finished. This will be $315 per night to start, and or up to $650 for the starting suites. It's a category 5, so that puts you at 17,000 for off-peak, 20,000 for the norm, and 23,000 points for peak season. And let's see. So, and then the last thing to talk about is the Singapore spontaneous escapes. Now this has gone on. This restarted last month. I'm sorry, after they went to a dynamic pricing system. So we now have that. Now, this is, if you don't remember how these work, you got to book these by the end of this month or the month where it's in, and you must travel in the following month. So it's not you don't get a widespread range as we might see on KLM Flying Blues promotion that we normally see. You only have 1 month to do this, and unfortunately, you cannot change or cancel these reservations. So here's what we have for this month. In economy, you can fly from JFK to Frankfurt in economy at 17,500 miles. You can go from San Francisco to Singapore for 29,400 miles. Premium economy, you can fly from LAX to Narita. They're in Haneda. I think it's, no, it's Japan, Tokyo, I believe. Narita, 51,100 miles. JFK to Frankfurt is 36,400 miles in premium economy. Newark to Singapore, 56,350. And SFO for San Francisco to Singapore, 52,500. We do only have one business flight that is part of this promotion, and that is JFK to Frankfurt, Germany, 56,700 in business. Now, as far as getting the points, that's not going to be a problem. We've got transfer point partners of AMEX, Capital One, Chase, and Citi, but very restrictive. But if it fits in your wheelhouse or you have enough time to be able to do something like this, it can be a good savings for you to be able to pull your points together. So, but that is what I've got for today here in sunny Las Vegas today. Want to make sure if anybody else has questions, thoughts, or comments. I think it'll be interesting to see if they do, as Frequent Miler talked about, potentially start opening up applications for the Citi Strata Elite already. That's a very quick turnaround from the announcement. So, but I think that unfortunately, the talk we're hearing about that is going to be kind of depressing, and I think that the days of kind of holding on to these long-term premium credit cards, unless you're traveling constantly, I think there's going to be a point where the coupons are not going to do it. And I'm almost at that point. When the Platinum allowed you to have Sirius, that was a nice thing to kind of help it. Now Sirius is not there, so I don't even really get much out of the digital entertainment coupon. And the coupons I'm hearing from everybody else sounds very mediocre to a certain extent. Chase's is not too bad, depending upon if you can find a couple niche spots. But once again, we're talking about a card over $700. So be curious about you all's thoughts, and we'll look at what we're seeing. If there's any questions or comments, definitely put them in the comment section. Definitely always look at those. Got a few videos that are going to be coming out that I'm trying to finish up while I'm here. Looking at Spirit, looking at a couple of other ones that are going on. But I'll look to get those started this weekend. And really appreciate you all spending some of you all's busy Friday night with me. Look forward to talking with you all soon. Thank you so much, and I'll talk with you all soon.